theatrical sense, his observation, his humanistic qualities were always passed on to his dancers and to me.
Alvin has invented a dance form that touches both your heart and your brain.
I love you in a place where there's no space or time.
We've had a relationship that is not in words, but in spirit and in feeling, and in all those intangibles that become tangible when any of us get on stage and translate his heart to you.
And when my life is over, remember we were together. We were alone and I was singing this song to you.
I'm Alvin Ailey. I'm a choreographer. I'm a black man whose roots are in the sun and the dirt of the South. My roots are in the blues, in the street people whose lives are full of beauty and misery and pain and hope. My roots are also in the gospel churches of the South where I grew up. Holy blues, paeans to joy, anthems to the human spirit.
Going Home, Alvin Ailey Remembered, was made possible by the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, the Robert Wood Johnson Jr. Charitable Trust, the Commonwealth Fund, the Carl C. Icahn Foundation, the Geraldine R. Dodge Foundation, the Jacob Burns Foundation, the Felix Rohatyn Foundation, and Philip Morris Companies, Incorporated.
Let us pray. O God of grace and glory, we remember before you this day our brother Alvin,
The death of Alvin Ailey, a brilliant, highly original creative artist, is an indescribable loss, not only for our city's cultural community, but indeed for the lovers of dance everywhere, since Alvin Ailey's art was in fact international in its scope and majesty. To Alvin, the African-American experience was solidly rooted in and inseparable from its American context. He mined that rich experience as no one had before him, constantly refining it in the crucible of his art and drawing from it its most essential elements, which he then shaped into fine and lasting jewels.
He left us in this recent transition with a memory and generosity of what it is to be a human in this world that needs so much love. Here was all this love embodied in one entity, one man. This love he has given to the world through his dance, through movement, through the music, his cultural gift, and his gift to race and to mankind in general can never, ever be equaled or paralleled.
For Alvin Ailey, when great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder, lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. They have, on hell-hot days, in lost gone years, stood beneath the branching, secreted from the sun's probing fingers, sheltered away from the sky's pelting downpour. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes see briefly with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened gnaws on kind words unsaid. Promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, flies away. We are not so maddened as much as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of dark, cold caves. Yet, when great souls die, after a period peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces filled with a kind of soothing vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, of course, whisper to us, they existed. They existed. We can be and be better, be and grow free, be, for they existed. Lord, help us. Give a look at him. Don't make him dress up in no nightgowns, Lord. Don't put no fuss and feathers on his shoulders, Lord. Let him know it's truly heaven. Let him keep his hat, his vest, and everything. Let him have his spats and cane. And Lord, give him all the pliés he needs into eternity.
The one thing I think that really makes this company stand out in people's mind when you try to identify to somebody who's not aware of dance, they look upon dance as an elitist form that's not going to touch your heart, that is mainly going to touch you cerebrally. And I think Alvin has invented a dance form that touches both your heart and your brain.
One of the unique things that Alvin has brought to dance, that he had a way of bringing everybody into the theater. It became popular theater. I don't like to use that word, but it became accessible to other people, where concert dance in a way was always thought of a very highbrow or long hair thing. Well, I think Alvin broke that pattern where say, I hate to use the word ordinary people who'd never been to a concert before realized that it was for them too, that it really wasn't that austere or that foreboding. It made them feel welcome in a theater and became very popular all over the world. And it was one of those things where no matter where he went, his language was universal. Everybody identified with it. Even when we were in Southeast Asia and Burma and places like that, the people loved his work, And he must have touched some part of their soul somewhere, a universal soul.
First time I ever saw Mr. Ailey was in 1963 in Philadelphia. And he was on the stage, a little heavy, doing Wading in the Water and all of Sinnerman. I saw this company who moved a way I hadn't seen before, and a man who moved like a cat, who moved like Quicksilver, who moved like an unearthly human being.
My Lord, deliver Daniel, my Lord, deliver Daniel, and a wine on every man. My Lord, deliver Daniel, my Lord, deliver Daniel, and a wine on every man. Man went down to the river, man went down to the river, man went down to the river, he went down there. Man went down to the river, man went down to the river, man went down to the river, he went there. Great God, and watch us, my Lord, watch us, my Lord, watch us, and oh, my Lord, he watch us, watch us, my Lord, watch us, Lord, to know he went down to the river, yes, the man went down to the river, Lord, yes, the man went down to the river, he went down there to sing, well, don't you know he went down to the river, yes, man went down to the river, Lord, yes, man went down to the river, to wash his sins away. In the water, in the water, children, in the water, God is gonna trouble the water, in the water, in the water, God is gonna trouble the water, God is gonna trouble the water.
Well, it's goodbye now. See you around. Didn't I tell you I wouldn't hold you down? You take good care of yourself, you hear? Don't let me hear about you shedding a tear. You're gonna make it.
sunny day that you once had along the way? Didn't I inspire you a little higher?
Remember me as a funny clown that made you dance when you were down. Remember me as a big balloon at a carnival that ended too soon. Remember me with every song you sing. Remember me as a good thing. Well, it's goodbye now. See you around. I hope you're happy with what you found. You put me through every test. You know I really tried to give you my best.
I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss you. Oh, remember me as the sound of laughter and my face the morning after. Didn't the sky beckon us to fly?
Yes, you remember times we fought, but don't forget me in your tender thoughts. Yeah, oh yeah. Remember me when you drink the wine.
Sweet success, I gave you my best.
Remember me with every song you sing.
Every dance you dance, every time you take a chance, every dream you dream.
Remember me
as a good thing.
It is fitting that he says his last farewell here because he's very much like this cathedral. Lofty, wide, airy, strong because it's made of stone. And yet at the same time, he had that delicacy and that vulnerability of the stained glass windows, those tiny little fragments of light, so easy to break, but yet so strong. We come here as stone and as delicate glass. And he took that strength and he built a legacy. He gave a legacy to the young people. And I would like to pass that on for Alvin to the young people. Don't let it go by. He gave you this gigantic chest, an open chest of gems and jewels. And all you had to do, and all you have to do, is dip your hand in and take. You take and you use and then you pass on as he is passing on now. And it is up to the young people to take that and use it, pass it on, support each other, and not selfishly, but generously as Alvin has. And that's my heart to Alvin, and my words from him to you, the young people. We have done our job in a way, but now it's up to them to take it and lead so that the dream and the beauty lives. And Alvin will always be on your shoulder to say, well done. And I say, well done, brother. Sweet Prince.
been so many places in my life and time. I've sung a lot of songs, I've made some bad rhymes. I've acted out my life in stages with 10,000 people watching. But we're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. I know your image of me is what I hope to be. I treated you unkindly, but darling, can't you see? There's no one more important to me. See through me, 'cause we're alone now, and I'm singing this song to you. You taught me precious secrets of a true love, holding nothing. You came out in front when I was hiding. Together, listen to the melody, 'cause my love is in there hiding. Space or time. I love you for my life. You're a friend of mine. And when my life is over, remember we were together. We were alone and I was singing this song. And I was singing this song to you. We were alone and I was singing this song. Singing this song to you.
My relationship with Alvin was not one of words, but of heartbeats and guidance. His hands knew my pulse through warm-ups and workouts when the heart was pumping life into those newly stretched and extended limbs, through backstage butterflies when the blood in my veins was mostly adrenaline and sweat, through gratification and growth and wonder. My mentor, Alvin Ailey, was my spiritual walker and support. He gave me legs until I could stand on my own as a dancer and as a choreographer. He was a spiritual walker, a poem poser, barefoot and body talker, servant stomper and wader in the waters. His life, a poem without words, in an improvised meter, seldom heard, but always heartfelt. A Zen Baptist master, his mantra was any movement repeated until it could be performed to perfection, and often in defiance of gravity. But the revelations, when they came, were always worth the wait, the hard work, and the long study. He made us believe we could fly, and many who came to see us soared with us as well, vicariously, viscerally, with every lift and leap across the stage. Alvin lifted our spirits and transformed us, and the process of discovery for the dancer was always an adventure.
Alvin was always very special about seeing things in people that you didn't see about yourself. And I mean, I must admit, in the very beginning, I was very young. I was 16 when I joined his company. And he used to always say things like, in the beginning of Cry, or in the beginning of, just when you step out on the stage, that you are like a goddess, that you are something very special. And when you think about that, I mean, that gives you so much power and so much command and so much strength to be a goddess on stage. I never would have thought about that, you know, as far as being myself. But I remember we were in Greece at the Herodotus Theater, which is down the hill from the Parthenon in Athens. And I was getting ready to do Cry. It's a huge theater, 5,000 people that seem to stretch up to the stars. And you look up and you see the stars, and you look up and you see the Parthenon is lit. And Alvin said, just remember, you are a goddess.
Flying bird, fly on. I want the clouds over my head, over my head, over my head. I don't want no snowboard day, yeah. Snowboard day, snowboard day. I'm gonna live until mother, 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 save your child. Mother, 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 save your child.
Cry was a gift to Alvin's mother because he couldn't afford to buy something for her. And the idea that dance is a gift, it's a gift that I tried to give to other dancers, etc., and that Alvin actually gave to me. And I think another thing that is so very special about Alvin's mother, Mrs. Lula Cooper, is her strength. And no matter what is going on, she can always turn a situation around and make it something positive, make it something energetic, take something very sad and make it very happy. This ceremony is called Alvin Ailey Going Home. And this is about sending him on, and that's what she wanted to do. And that's what we hope to do in this ceremony and what I hope to do in performing Cry today.
Mother, 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 save your child. Lord, Lord, where will I be tomorrow night? Yeah. Then we're going right, be free. Going right, be free. Right, be free. Then we're going right, we're going right, we're going
May his rest be this day in peace, and his dwelling place in the paradise of God.
Thank you.
There was such a spiritual depth, such religious fervor in Alvin's work, growing out of the very depth of the man himself, growing out of his very being. This spirit, this something, this thing that was so deep, that called us into the deepest part of our souls to respond and to think and to understand. Alvin always took us to a deeper level.
may run on for a long time. You may run on for a long time. I may run on for a long time. Let me tell you, God Almighty gonna cut you down. Go tell that liar, midnight rider, can't run, that liar. I tell him God Almighty gonna cut him down. It got wet with midnight too. Morning star was a witness too. I never shall forget that day. Jesus washed my sins away. Day one day I was walking along. I heard a voice and I saw no one. Voice I heard, it sound so sweet. It made his blood run down to my feet. Don't tell that liar. Midnight rider. Can't run, that liar. I tell him God Almighty gonna cut him down. Read about Samson from his word. Strongest man that ever lived on earth. He way back in ancient time. Got him with the Illinois time. Not a fool Samson, don't you know? Holy Bible here tells us so. Came to Samson on her knees. Everyone specialized in the Delilah, she looked so bad. Samson said a straight line. Shave his head just to squeeze her hand. Samson got weak as any other man. Go tell that liar. Woman, just leave her alone. One of these days, just mark my word. The neighbor has gone to work. Walked up, knock on the door. That's all, brother, you're not. Don't tell that liar. Midnight rider. You can't be random. Put him down.
Coming into the bosom of Abram, which was Alvin for me, I realized how wonderful, how proud, how positive it is to be black in America through the movement and through our art. There were times when one wondered, when we heard, this is in the 60s, when you heard of dance and you heard black dance, what it really meant, how people moved and how black dancers and dancing was perceived. All the negatives were eliminated by the positive attitude and platitude of this theater, of this art form.
And what Alvin has left me with is an understanding that life brings love and hate, joy and pain, laughter, tears, trials, lies, truth and beauty, ugliness, hope and despair, rude awakenings, and nice surprises, forgetfulness, memories and visions, revelations, delusions and disappointments, accolades and embarrassments, humiliations, innocence, experience and change. But death makes all things precious. God rest and bless my spiritual walker.
Church just to signify, trying to make a date with the neighbor's wife. Yeah, let me tell you, just as sure as you're funk, you better leave that woman, yes, leave her alone. One of these days, just mark my words, think your neighbor has gone to work. Walk up, knock on the door. That's all, brother, you knock them all. Go tell that liar, go tell that midnight rider, tell the gambler rambler, that's right up until God Almighty goes.
My soul in the bosom of Abraham, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul.
I may be weak,
rock my soul,
but thou art strong.
Rock my soul.
I'm leaning on his mighty arm.
Oh, rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Rock my soul in the bosom of Abraham. Oh, rock my soul.
My soul is glad.
Rock my soul.
My soul is free.
Rock my soul.